The 11th law of the universe is the law of rhythm. It's easy to understand, but how can we use this law to enhance our life? Hello again, everybody. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and inspire. Today, we're going to talk about the law of rhythm, which is really easy to understand, but most importantly, what we're going to discover is how you can use the law of rhythm to make things happen for you the way you want them to. So please join Eli and me as we discuss the law of rhythm. You know, Eli, let's first go over what the law of rhythm is. All right, the law of rhythm states that the energy in the universe is like a pendulum. Whenever something swings to the right, it then has to swing to the left. Everything in existence involved is a dance. It's swaying, flowing, swinging back and forth. Everything is either growing or it's dying. You know about the seasons, okay? You have spring, summer, winter, fall. I mean, you have hot weather, you have cold weather, you have rainy season, you have a dry season, all right? We know about the law of rhythm, all right? It's very, very easy. Let's talk about the law of rhythm as it relates to everyday life. I'm going to use myself as an example in 3 different examples, and hopefully you'll be able to see some of the things where you can take advantage of the law of rhythm. All right. Now, Eli, as you know, as I've told you several times, and as the listeners as well, basketball is a very, very important thing to me. All right. And as a basketball player, I was perhaps one of the worst shooters in basketball history. All right. Yeah, I could shoot a little bit, but when you start talking about playing at the collegiate level, you had to have more skills than I had as a shooter. My coach used to always say, you know, Eli's dad, you need a soft touch to be a shooter, and you have the touch of a blacksmith. All right, so I knew that I wasn't so good as a shooter. So what did I do? Why was I somewhat successful as a basketball player? Well, first of all, when you're playing defense, one of the things you want to do is you want to upset the rhythm of the man with the ball. But let's talk about something a little bit easier, something that's a little bit more subtle in basketball. Now, Eli, one of the things and you play the position of point guard, that's sort of like the quarterback in basketball. One of the things that you want to do is you want to get the ball to your shooters, get them in a position where they can score. Now, this is a very, very subtle point, but nevertheless, it's one of the most important things about being a point guard in basketball. One of the skills that I had that was unique to me versus most of the people that I played with was when I had the ball and I had my shooter in a shooting position, is I got them the ball right where they wanted it. Why? Because if they get the ball right where they want it, then they're in the right rhythm, they catch, they step, they shoot, bang, the ball goes in the hole. You don't even have to look. You get the ball to somebody in the perfect rhythm. You've been in that position yourself, Eli. You're a young man, but when you get the ball in rhythm and you get it at the right space, ball's going in the hole. Ball's going in the basket. All right? A lot of other people that were playing that position, they get the ball would be off a little bit here, then the person has to bring it back here. The ball would be up here, then they got to bring it down here. The key thing is to get the ball in the position so that the person that's the shooter is in rhythm. That's winning basketball. That's the law of rhythm. Let me give you a different example. Eli, when I was younger, I was also a baseball pitcher. And my dad, may he rest in peace, spent hours and hours and hours teaching me how to pitch. I had some skills. He taught me how to throw a curveball. He taught me how to think as a pitcher, even playing against kids in Little League. That was essentially, as one of my buddies likes to say, that's when you were king of the world as an athlete when you were 12 years old. You were the king of the world then. And then after that, all right? But anyway, I knew the rules of pitching, and they involved the law of rhythm. Now, Eli, when I was pitching against somebody as a hitter that was kind of not a good hitter, I didn't fool around. I took the ball, I threw the fastball. They couldn't get the bat around enough to swing and hit the ball. That was easy. But every team has a couple of guys that are good hitters. And when you're facing the good hitters, then you got to use your brain a little bit more. All right? So, as an example, if I was going up against a big guy, and he was, one of these guys, and he would have like a big heavy bat, and I could see that he couldn't get the ball around, I pitched the ball up higher. All right, why? Because you couldn't get the bat up high. He could get it down low, but he couldn't get it up high. That was one thing. That's rhythm. All right, get them out of their rhythm. Hitting is rhythm. Okay, you want to get the bat hitting the ball at the right speed, the right time. That's how you make the best hits. All right. However, one of the other things that I used to do, and my dad taught me this, was people, when they get up to bat, they're timing it. They're timing the pitch. So if you throw every pitch the same speed, ultimately the good hitters are going to time it and they're going to whack it. Even in Major League Baseball, you see guys that throw the ball over 100 miles an hour, and you say to yourself, how is it possible to get the bat around? Well, these guys are good hitters. And if you always throw the ball at that speed, someone's going to hit it. So the key thing is to get the hitter off their rhythm. And the way you get them off their rhythm is you change the speed. So I would go in, especially my dad said, when you have 2 strikes, throw the curveball so that they see it. All right, it's nice and high, they see it, they have a good view of it, but the speed is slower than when you're throwing your fastball. So they would get up there and they would swing, and they'd be 10 years ahead of when the ball got there to home plate. Swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss. Time after time after time after time. People have a rhythm. That's what makes people successful in sports. All right, now let's talk about something else, Eli. We get into rhythms in life. Just as there's a spring, there's always a summer, there's always a winter. What do I mean by that? I mean, well, you have times in life where everything you do just seems to go right. You can feel it. The people around you feel it. You're just giving off that vibe. All right. I remember when I was a young man and I was out and about in social situations, and sometimes the ladies would you'd say, oh my goodness, I can't say anything wrong. These ladies are all smiling at me. They all want to dance. All right. And then there would be other times, especially when I was married, all right, when no matter what it was I did, it was wrong. All right, you couldn't say the right thing, you couldn't do the right thing, you gave off the wrong vibe, it was irritating. So you go through certain cycles, and the pendulum, like we said, swings both ways. All right, so what do you do in life when you're in the negative rhythm? What's the negative rhythm? You're clumsy. You're giving off the wrong vibe, or you're angry. Something happened, that somebody did something to make you angry. The person that they cut you off on your way to work, all right, and then the whole time that person didn't even realize that they're gone. You don't see them again, and then as you go in work, say, this guy cut me off, okay, and then your mood is ruined for the whole day because that one guy who doesn't even know you exist now cut you off. So what do you do in a situation like that? Once again, it's rhythm. You want to get out of the negative rhythm and get into a positive rhythm. And the solution for that is what I like to refer to as the principle of replacement, where you replace that dynamic in your head, that negative dynamic, with a positive dynamic. Now, how do you do that? Well, I've told this story before, and I've had several requests to tell it again, so I'm going to take advantage because now it's actually applicable to what we're talking about. We're talking about changing your rhythm from a negative rhythm to a positive rhythm. And here's what you do. First of all, one day you sit down and you write out all of the extraordinarily unbelievable, fantastic, good things that have happened in your life. And there's not going to be a zillion of them, all right? When I sat down and did it, I had 27 different things that related to my mom, to my dad, to sports activities, to you, Eli, to my honeymoons, different aspects of life that were just utterly fantastic, just jot them down, all right? And make a list. Now, when you're in that bad state, that negative state, take yourself, remember we're talking about the principle of replacement. You want to replace that negative with the positive. So you go back and you think of one of your, what I call transformers. Okay, they're going to transform you from the negative to the positive. One of your transformers, and you put that in your mind. Let me tell you one of the stories, all right? Now, years ago, I was a coach of the Frosh Soft team. And when you have Frosh Soft kids, you know, we're talking like 13, 14, maybe 15-year-old kids. You have some basketball players that are good, some that are mediocre, and some that are not so good. All right, so anyway, I had a team, and we're playing in a game, and you know soon enough, you know, by watching the kids, it's really not that hard. You find who the best players are. All right, so you formulate, you get your starting five. All right, and when you're playing, and if you're playing to really win the game, you know, sometimes the game is like the other team is 900 times better than you, sometimes they're 900 times worse than you. But the ones that are really fun, the ones that are really challenging, is when the teams are pretty equal as far as skill set is concerned. All right, and so that's where, you know, your coaching gets into play, and of course that's a challenge that you like as a coach. So anyway, we're playing in this game, and it's a pretty close game, and we're beginning like we're in the third quarter, and it's back and forth, and one of my starters fouls out. So I have to replace this guy, this kid. All right, so I look down the bench, and I'm thinking to myself, boy, I wish I had more talent down there. All right, but I look down the bench and I see a freshman, a kid named Scott. Now Scott, young kid, little short guy, all right, he had a pretty good week of practice. All right, so I mean, if you're going to give your practice any value, you know, you want to encourage him. He had a good week of practice, he gets a shot. So it's like, Scott, you're in. All right, so Scott goes in the game. Now, you got to remember, he's like 13 years old, nervous as heck. He gets in the game, all right, and the ball, you know, they're playing the game, and they pass him the ball, and as soon as he gets the ball, he passes it right away. It's like a hot potato. He's nervous. He doesn't want to do anything. All right, so over the course of the game, we're playing. Finally, he gets in a position where he's got a wide open shot, and he's got to take the shot. Okay, so he goes, he gets the ball, he takes a shot, and he misses everything. An absolute air ball. All right, head goes down. All right, come on, Scott, let's go, defense, let's play. All right, so we're back in the game. We're playing the game, and the game's going on and on and on and on. And finally, we're in the fourth quarter, right? And the score is tied. And there's like 12 seconds left. We get the ball. Timeout, timeout, timeout. All right, we want to have the last shot. All right, so we got a tie score. 12 seconds left in the game. I call everybody over, you know, for the timeout. And the kids are sitting there, you know, on the bench, and I'm sitting there in front of them, and I pull out my chalk, and I'm ready to, you know, write out what the play is. Now, keep in mind, if you're worth your salt at all as a coach, you've gone over situations like this. This isn't something that you just make up right on the spot. I mean, you can't expect 12 or 13-year-old kids to do something that they haven't practiced, all right, especially in a pressure situation, which, by the way, is also the story in life, all right? You don't want to put people in a pressure situation that you haven't prepared them for. But I digress. Anyway, I know what I'm going to do, so I call the kids around, and I pull out my chalk, and used to write right on the floor, and then you would like erase it, okay, with your hand, you know, so nobody would see it. Who's going to see it anyway, right? So I draw the play up. This is what they're going to do. Now, I go down, I look up at the kids. Now, you remember when you were in high school that they had those very steep bleachers that went up and up and up and up and up? Okay, well, that's what we had, all right? So the kids are sitting on the bottom bench, and when I look up, all the kids are there looking at me like, okay, coach, what are we going to do? And then as I look right above the kids, all of their parents are right behind them, and they're all looking down. All right, okay, coach, what are we going to do? All right, it was kind of a funny thing. You see everybody's like tense. Okay, coach, what are we going to do? All right, so I drop the play, you know, something that we've run already. Now, the strategy that you want to employ in this situation is you want to get the ball to your best shooter if possible, and you want to have your best shooter shoot the ball with about 6 seconds left in the game. Why 6 seconds? Because when he shoots with 6 seconds and he misses, what happens is you can get the rebound and there's time to put the ball back in the basket. Or if he misses and the other team gets the ball, there isn't enough time for them to get the ball and go all the way down to the other end and put it in the hole. So if it's a tie score, you shoot with 6 seconds, you're either going to win or it's going to go into overtime. So it's a win-win situation. It's a win-win game plan for you. All right? So that's what we have set up. All right? So I go through, I write out the play. I say, all right, everybody, let's get your hands in here. What are we going to do? Win! All right? So the kids, they go out, and person, I've already said, this guy's taking it out, this guy's doing this, so on and so forth. Everybody knows what they're going to do. All right? So you can probably figure out what's going to happen here. Anyway, what happens is they go through, they start running the play. We get the ball to my best shooter. Oh, I forgot to tell you one thing. All right? Then this is critically important. I can't believe I forgot to tell you this. After we break the huddle, after everybody goes, win! All right? I pulled Scooter aside and I said, Scooter, this is why you are in the game, because I trust you. I don't care what happened before. If you get in a position where you have a shot, take the shot. Okay? And that's the last thing I said before they go out to the court. Kind of ruined the story already, but anyway, you get the idea. So here's what happens. They go out, the ball gets passed around, my best shooter shoots, he misses, the rebound goes directly to, guess who? Scooter. He gets it, 3, 2, 1, he shoots it right at the buzzer. The ball goes in the hole. Everybody jumps all over Scooter. He's thrilled, he's excited, he's happy. Probably one of the best things that happened to him in his life up to that moment. I hope more good things have happened to him. Everybody's thrilled. His parents come down and they say to me, Coach, I want to thank you very much. We want to thank you very much for what you said to Scott, what you said to Scooter. I know he's going to remember this for the rest of his life. Thank you very much. Now, whenever I find myself, not whenever, but many times, when I find myself in a negative mindset, I'll stop, I'll pause, and I'll think of that story. And it automatically lifts me. It changes my dynamic from being a negative to being a positive. So rhythm can be a good thing. If you're in a good rhythm, like you want to shoot the ball, you get it in a good rhythm, or you're sending off the good vibes, you want to continue that, you want to be able to maintain the rhythm. However, remember that it's going to go back and forth. When you're in a bad rhythm, when you're in a negative rhythm, a good idea is to use a story, a transformer, to change your mental dynamic, to take you out of the negative and put you into the positive. All right, so that's the law of rhythm. And use it to enhance your life, because being in a negative state is never, for obvious reasons, a positive thing. So get yourself out of the negative, get yourself with the positive, give off those good vibes, and remember that we will never end our meeting on a philosophical note. So let's all get out there, establish a great rhythm, and charge! I'm Eli's dad.